Hello, everybody, and make it a magical. What is today? I'm so lost in the week. Already Thursday. Hopefully, it's a magical Thursday for you guys. Hopefully, you're making it a magical Thursday. We, of course, create our own luck and our own. I don't even like the word luck. Actually, we create our own opportunity. So, welcome everybody. It's Corey Poirier once again with another live airing of our Blue Talks special events. These are where we profile a different Blue Talks member each time around, actually 2 times a week now. We've just kicked it off this week. We had one this past Tuesday. This is our second time around. And what I've decided to do with this is to actually have some guest interviewers so guest Blue Stirs or Blue Talks speakers, authors, interviewing other Blue Talk speakers, authors, because I want to give everybody else the stage rather than me. But of course, I feel it makes sense to set the tone when I can. So this is no different. This is our second Blue Talk special feature interview. And so in a minute, I'm going to welcome on our interviewer and our interviewee. But just to tell you who might be tuning in for the very first time what Blue Talks is, Blue Talks, or Blue, stands for Business Life Universe. So it is a 3-letter acronym, not 4. So if you want to go to the website, make sure to leave out the E in blue. So bluetalks.com. But what you're going to start seeing Blue Talks and Blue a lot more in the coming weeks, because next Tuesday is our official launch, which seems really weird to people who've been following along probably for the last year, because we've been in kind of pre-launch mode for almost a year. We just did a virtual event in June, had roughly 20,000 viewers, which sounds really weird for a thing that's not fully launched yet. So for some people, we're probably already launched. But in the real scheme of things, we launch next Tuesday with the Blue Talks podcast. I'm going to say give or take a day. I'm hoping iTunes will get us up when they're supposed to, or at least not make us wait too long. And we're going to be jumping on YouTube on Tuesday with the first Blue Talks videos. We're going to be the first book. We're starting to, quote unquote, release it on Tuesday. And actually, I think both, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe both of the people coming up next are in the first book. I think so. I hope I'm right on that. They can correct me again if I'm wrong. But so we have the book coming up as well. And then we do have, we're already in the works planning our next 2 virtual events, both in September. So I say all this because I feel like you're going to see Blue Talks a lot in the coming future. We've even had honorary Blue Talks members so far, like Les Brown. We've had Mark Victor Hansen, Tom Ziegler, Heather Monahan, who joined us for the virtual events. So lots of exciting things happening. Only other thing I want to say before I bring our 2 special, I'm going to say guests, even though one's the host for today, on is I've said that what I thought for the foreseeable future is the cheap plug for the book of Why and How is I'd make it sort of the sponsor for the Blue Talks interviews. And in doing that, I would tackle one thing that I cover in the book each time, just to give somebody a bit of an insight, since I won't be here for the full interview. And so what I wanted to mention today was a thing I talk about in the book called the law of action. And so what this relates to is The Secret, which a lot of you guys are familiar with, the law of attraction. I want to mention that, first of all, I said this in the book, I never would take anything away from The Secret. Some of my favorite influencers were featured in it. It impacted millions of lives. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually a Secret movie that just came out starring Katie Holmes. I think it just came out like 2 weeks ago. So it's like the movie. I haven't seen anything about it, so I'm not sure what it's about, but it's an actual fictional movie, I think, based on the law of attraction premise and insights. But having said all that, the one thing when I talk to people that have been in The Secret, I won't name names unless it was a public interview. The one thing that they tell me over and over again is they felt the thing that was missing a little bit was the action component. So what I mean there, if you watched The Secret movie, you saw that there was like a guy rubbing a genie's magical lamp and was saying, I want a car or a motorbike, I think it was, in the yard. And then at your command, a motorbike appears next day with a ribbon on it. And it even said it can't refuse. It has to command. It has to be at your command. And I think the downside of that is some people that watched it that maybe weren't ready for it yet were hoping outside the next morning, if they thought really hard that night, they'd have a brand new Cadillac in the driveway, and it didn't happen. And maybe then they go, okay, well, there's nothing to this. At the end of the day, it still reached millions of people around the law of attraction. It changed lives. So not to take away from it, but I just want to stretch and suggest that I think what was missing was the action component. So Lisa Nichols summed it up better than I can. I interviewed her about this, and of course she was in The Secret, and she said, here's how I described it at some of my talks. She said, if you're sitting on the couch for a year and you have the best vision board in the world that's ever been made sitting beside you, it's the perfect vision board, and you look at it at every commercial break, but you never get up off the couch. At the end of the year, all you're going to have is a lump in your couch. And so I think that sums it up better than I can, in the sense that if you want to practice the law of attraction, if you want it working for you, if you want to be a magnet to it, you at least got to step up. You at least got to take action. You at least got to have some planning involved. So to give you the story from the book, and then I'll let the guests take it away here. But to give you the story from the book, I shared a story about how I wrote a list down, or actually said that I wanted to share the bill with a world-class speaker in, I think it was 2016. And I had this list in my head, like a few people I want to share the bill with. But I hadn't taken any action. I hadn't even written down a list. So ultimately I said, well, nothing's going to happen until I take action. So I wrote down the list of speakers. The first one at the top of the list was Deepak Chopra. Now, Deepak doesn't share the bill with many speakers. Most of his talks are on his own. And so I put Deepak at the top of the list. And then what I did next was part of my action plan was I searched, where's Deepak speaking this year? I found out he was speaking, actually, the only place the whole year that he was speaking with other speakers on the card was in my backyard. So I reached out to the organizers, and they were ready to close the doors. I think they even were full of speakers, but they put me on sort of the backup list. And a couple of days later, they called and said, we love the topic you mentioned. And guess what? Somebody had to cancel and brought me on. And the end result is I said it the first of the year, and I don't do it on January 1st. That's a whole nother story, but I'm not big on resolutions for a reason. But I said, I'm going to share the bill with somebody. I wrote down Deepak. And then within about 2 months of writing that down, I was actually on the bill with Deepak Chopra, and I was filmed for a television program at the same time. And all this happened. And it was what I wrote down. So you could argue that the law of attraction was at work. But here's my question to you. If I didn't look up where Deepak was speaking, if I didn't write Deepak's name down, if I didn't have a plan in place, what are the odds I would have reached that organizer, the only one he was speaking at that year, who wasn't looking for any more speakers, whose call for speakers would have been closed a couple of days later? What are the odds that I magically would have got a call by them saying, we're looking for you, when they never heard of me? The bottom line is I had to take all those actions to share the bill with Deepak Chopra. And so what I would say is, yes, the law of attraction works, but if you really want to take it to the next level, you need to practice some action. You should have an action plan. There's much more. I could go deeper into the secret here, but that's what I want to give you for today. So that's a little nugget from the book of Why and How, which, if I give another plug, is available online, retailers, and in bookstores everywhere. Grab your copy today. That's my little plug. So having said that, anybody knows me knows I don't do a lot of sales or plugs online, so that's my little one for today. So having said that, I'm going to bring on interviewer and interviewee, Laura Lake, interviewer at the top, and Tyson Bannigan, interviewee. I am literally going to not steal any more of you guys' thunder. I'm going to jump backstage and let you guys take it over. So both of you guys are Blue Talks members, so I'm going to leave it in your capable hands. The idea here is to bring on two people and let them control the stage rather than me. So Laura, I'm going to let you take it away. Tyson, so nice to see you. See you again next week on our mastermind. Otherwise than that, I will be back at the end. So thanks, guys.
Thanks, Corey.
What a great segue, Tyson. I'm kind of excited because what he just brought up, the whole law of action, was exactly what I just wrote about in my blog yesterday. And I watched one of your videos this morning talking about the same kind of thing. It's about the subconscious. So I wanted to start our conversation off with that. It's a wonderful way.
It's really, really important. And it just, I have my law of attraction book here, and that I write in on a regular basis. It's called, there it is right here. It's called Gains, right? Or Prosperity. So everything goes in there. I mean, energy is money. And so everything, even the bills I'm paying, I have gratitude for the opportunity that I have a credit card and a line of credit that I can pay the bills. And everything that comes my way, I put it into the book and give gratitude for it. So it's a running documentation. And I even do it in colored pencils, although I have to say I am going really back to find the colored ones. But here it is, where the savings that I have are all in blue, right? So that I understand that energy is money and money is energy. And it's another form of love that I give and receive. So yeah, this really, really does work.
I do the color thing too.
Oh, you do? Great.
I have so many different colored pens. I love it. So I guess my first question is, Well, I'm going to start off with a comment, and then I'll ask you a question about it.
All right.
There is this thought, just like Corey said, that manifesting is just something that we think of in our mind. And if we think really, really, really hard, it's just going to come to fruition. And I know that he mentioned the law of action, but I also realize that you're in the spiritual realm and you understand a lot about how the subconscious works and how the subconscious is actually the one that has to start the process of this planning. So if we don't subconsciously believe that speaking on the same stage as Deepak Chopra, which is so cool, can't happen, we're going to self-sabotage.
Absolutely.
So what is your take on manifestation as well as how the subconscious gets in our way?
Yeah, I mostly work with empaths or highly sensitive people, and they have a big problem in this area because everything that comes their way into their thoughts and into their day, they think they're responsible for, so they get overwhelmed about what it is. How do I even focus? How do I even create a vision board? Because what's mine and what's somebody else, what do I own and what do I do with all this information? And am I responsible for all this information? Am I supposed to solve this, right? So this is the dilemma of an empath. So helping them focus in, as a empath guide or business strategist for empaths, the first thing is help them get out of their own way, right? What is yours and what isn't yours, right? And to be able to let go of that which is not theirs. The second thing is empaths picked up so much conditioning subconsciously and consciously from everybody around them because they feel it all. So they're running all these latent programs, like you say, in the subconscious that we need to help them get over or get through. So I created what's called the Deep Clearing Protocol. It's 64 statements. It takes about 45 minutes to do, and you do it every day. And what it does is it creates an energy field or bioenergy field or your aura that, for an empath, it's permeable, lets everything in. And doing the deep clearing program allows you to exclude what no longer serves you, to allow more which does serve you, which is the divine, coming in. So the more you let go of what you don't want, the more you can let in what you do want. So that's the basis of manifestation for an empath, is just basically teaching them how to clear the decks, how to make room for prosperity to show up in their lives. So that's basically how I start that agenda, right? Let's just clean it up.
I think of it exactly like spring cleaning, whereas our mind can be a closet and the best way that I like to clean my closet is just rip everything out, wipe it down, make sure it's all clean, and then put back the things that make me feel good. Can you actually explain what an empath is?
Well, an empath is on the scale of highly sensitive people. So highly sensitive people. So an empath, if you think about it, everybody's empathic, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody has the experience of, oh, I was thinking of you and you just phoned me. Wow, that's sort of amazing. Or you walk into a room and it feels, ugh, it doesn't feel good. That's being empathic, right? Being an empath is on the scale of being a highly sensitive person. So if you were as a child, if you were told, well, you just feel too much, or you need to, stop worrying about things, or, just quiet down, or we don't need to hear that, most likely you were an empath because you're receiving so much information and you think everybody sees and feels and experiences the world where you do, only to realize that no, that's not the case at all. They don't have a clue about what your world is all about. So then you're spending a lot of time then trying to fit in. Well, what is the rules of this game, right? What does it mean? So my first book is all about that, is, a survival guide for planet Earth for empaths or highly sensitive people, because they don't know how to operate on this planet. It doesn't make any sense to them because they feel so much, they experience so much, and they think everybody else does, and they don't. So they're just being told to be quiet, sit down, you're way too sensitive, calm down, or whatever. So get back in your place, fit in. And the job of an empath is not to fit in. Your job as an empath is you're here to change the world. So your job is not to fit in. So learning that is the big first step is, look, give yourself a break. You are different and it's okay. And 25% of the population is highly sensitive. And at the far end of that spectrum is an empath. And an empath will actually can feel all the emotions of those people around them. Okay. They get overloaded, like I said, of all those feelings, all those ahas. They think that they are responsible for all those. And that's why we create that boundary that no, that's not yours and you don't need to be responsible. That could be from your lineage, it could be from your subconscious, could be from wherever. You don't need to deal with all this information. So hopefully that gives you an idea what an empath is all about.
No, that was great, because there's so many, again, misconceptions around some of these words, because in my mind, or at least in my experience within my circles, spirituality generally has the context of religion, and there's still not quite the amount of conversation that I would like to see around other forms of spirituality. So for me, it's just a set of beliefs. So what does the word spirituality mean to you and your work?
It's just pure energy. If you understand that the world is made of energy, right? That we are energy beings. Everything around us is just a slow down energy, which we call the third dimension, which is physicality. And then when you speed that energy up, it literally can disappear before your very eyes. So this reality that we exist in is only energy. And when you understand we live in an energy universe and you're an energy person, then you can understand that there's levels of that energy. It's sort of like a broadcast station. So if you have on a radio station, you turn the dial and you have a certain broadcast. That's a frequency of energy. You turn the dial up or down, you have a different station. You can't get the original station. That's the energy of where you are. And if you're at that level of energy, like attracts like. So at that level, you could have scary things happen to you, like boogeymen or things that go bump in the night or entities or scary stuff. And why do I say that? Because lots of empaths have this sort of problem. They get overloaded with everybody else's stuff because they're running, when they're doing their work as a spiritual healer, they're running all that stuff through them and they don't know how to let go of it, right? So that all this ends up inside of them. So they got all this baggage, and then I get the job of helping them learn how to get it all out of there, right? Like, sailing the boat, like, let's clear that out. So spiritual for me is just really learning that we're all energy. Certain levels of energy have certain realities of consciousness. And because we create the world with every thought, word, and deed, you need to be really clear on what energy frequency you're at, because that's the world you're creating. So I'm teaching you how to up your level so that everything below that no longer can enter your field, right? That is what we call the evolution of consciousness. You could call it spiritual. You can call it whatever you want. But it does create a different world that you live in, which is a lot less scary and a lot more ease and grace. So who doesn't want that?
Oh, I definitely want that. And I really align with everything that you're saying about being an empath and feeling other people's feelings. Actually, after my last PTSD, it became a physical manifestation. So it wasn't just the feelings inside of me that I felt of the people around me, but because of the PTSD, I actually started twitching on one side of my body whenever I felt somebody's energy around me. I knew exactly what they were going through because my body would start to twitch. So then I would open the conversation. How are you feeling? Do you need support?
Right.
Yeah.
And as an empath, it's sort of like being a magnet rocking through a store where people just come to you and they think that they can just have a session with you right there because they know that you're empathic. So they'll tell you their life story. So again, with an empath, I want you to still have all those skills of the twitching or the itching or the knowing or the aha, but I don't want you on 24/7 because you're going to burn your synapses. So I want to help you reinstall a rheostat, so you turn it down. Okay, so you only put it on when you're working with clients. You're full bore empathic, can read minds, do intuition. All of your clairs are available for you to do that work. But after that, wash your hands or whatever you want to do to cut that connection, and then turn the rheostat down so that you're not feeling everybody's emotions around you. You're not empathic 24/7. Otherwise, you just get overloaded.
So I tried to read your eyes before this so that I could figure out, who is Tyson? And I read you as, these are just the words that popped into my mind, as a spiritual conduit as well as a guide. So I'm picturing you like this pipeline between somebody who is in confusion and doesn't really know what is happening. How do I get out of this? And I just see you as like, here's the tunnel vision that takes you from where you are to where you want to go, but then you guide them the whole time. Does that sound like you?
Yeah, I think that's one way of looking at it. I have, for some reason, the ability to see their soul level of who they are, the beauty of who they are. And I won't let that go. If I'm working with you, Laura, and I get you and you get me, I hold you accountable to that level. And not in a, oh, you didn't do this right or this is wrong. I just hold you there and help you rise to that level at which I'm holding you there, right? Like, I won't let you go. There's no letting go. You can be bad, rotten, wrong. You can screw up. You can do whatever you want, but I'm still going to hold you there and be there for you as you work through this. And I think that's part of what I always wanted as an empath is I wanted somebody who got me, who would just hold me in that level, unconditionally, just like God or Spirit or the source of all that is, that loves you unconditionally. I wanted that in my life. So I try and do that for other people. I hold them there. And it's something that I don't have to struggle with. It just comes naturally. And then that allows the person to calm down because they know that I'm always there for them. Then they can let the good, bad, and the ugly come out and work through it, and it's safe and not so scary. And then they can climb the ladder of consciousness.
Definitely. I feel as though the deeper we can get within ourselves, the deeper we can connect with other people.
Yes, absolutely. And as empaths, some of us have been really had some pretty amazing lives, which are pretty scary, right? And I work with some pretty scary situations. One of the things are labels, because one of my mentors is that I am, I don't even want to say the word, but I deal with the ugly stuff, right? I deal with exorcism, right? I deal with the scary bit. So, and exorcism is just another way where you're saying the itching that was happening in your skin, when you get that fearful of that type of extrasensory perception, you can actually have beings that walk into your auric field that relate to that energy and start to inhabit you. That's what possession is all about. And then I get the phone call of helping you learn how to do the excommunication, but another way of just saying that is giving them eviction notice out of your house, right? And so I don't do anything other than I come and I help that person raise their vibrational energy so that eviction happens naturally. Then I teach them how to lock all the windows and the door and take away the welcoming mat so repossession doesn't occur again, right? So, but in the midst of it, it could be very, very scary for people, right? Very, very scary thing. So my job is to make it not so scary, and also to congratulate them. Like, you don't have scary things show up in your life until you're ready to graduate. So it's pretty exciting, even though the devil's knocking at your door. The devil wouldn't be knocking at your door. I mean, we're just using that as a euphemism. If you weren't ready to be able to open the door and almost laugh at the devil, oh, thanks for showing up because I know I'm ready to graduate, right? I'm ready to go through this, right? It's not scary anymore. But initially, it's overwhelmingly scary, right? Especially with all the weight crap that they put out there, right? Scary bits, right? Things go bump in the night and, hands and anyway.
No, I completely understand. When I was younger, I actually saw my dead dog in my room with glowing eyes, and it had freaked me out so much that I shut down the spiritual side of me.
Right.
For many, many years. And of
Many
course,
people do that.
Yeah. And then you feel broken, you don't feel whole, you're missing this whole section of your life. Nothing's coming into alignment, and you're wondering why you feel lost.
Absolutely. And that's so tragic. And so part of what I want to do is I call it the Rainbow Children's Network, is to help the new children coming through the rainbows and all these different labels of all these amazingly advanced souls that are incarnating on the planet with, because some of the parents are more clear than my parents were, for example. they I'm helping grandparents and parents understand who these kids are. I mean, they're coming through with abilities that are so advanced that we as a population haven't even begun to touch with. So again, it's making it safe. So hopefully they don't shut down like you did, Laura, because it wasn't safe for them to be who they are, because the feedback that they got from society and their parents was just like, hey, you're too much, you know, you need to cool down, you need to be quiet, or you need to go to your room, or you need to be, or stop bothering me with those criticisms. No, I don't see what you see. All this stuff, which sooner or later you just shut down. Like you said, you just shut that down because you don't know what to do with it. Or you get out of your body and you're disassociated, right? Because it's not safe to be in your body. Then you go and have accidents because you're not really there, right? You're not incarnated in your body. You're in la la land, right? Now that's the other thing.
I'm sorry. I only laugh because that's exactly what I wrote about in my chapter for the Blue Talks book, is about not feeling like myself and feeling like this false happiness, this false life that I was living, and how I needed that beautiful destruction, as the gentleman from Mind Valley calls it, to really get back in touch with who I was and that spirituality, that energy that we all have. So now I'm curious as to how you see the world right now moving forward into this, what I call new branch of life.
I'm very excited by it. I mean, for the first part of all this, I got pretty scared like everybody else did, I think. And then I realized, wow, my favorite cartoon is, the Michelangelo was, painting with God's coming down with his finger. And,
Yeah.
Okay, so the cartoon is there's a finger coming down from God, and then there's the earth, and then there's a reset button on it.
Yes.
And God is about to hit the reset button. And I thought, well, that I really can relate to that. The other image that I love is, all right, you kids, this is Mother Earth speaking. You all been bad and rotten, and I'm all going to send you to your rooms until you behave yourself. So that's the other image I love.
I love that so much. And I relate so much to Mother Earth. I'm part of a spiritual group who is very open to all sorts of beliefs, and we try a bunch of different things to make everybody feel supported. And one of the things that we did was we invited some of these energies into the room and into ourselves. And I felt as though Gaia, or Mother Earth, was within me. We're not separate. And this whole pandemic, actually, I felt her level up. I felt myself level up. And I feel as though there's this, not just shift, but like a complete transformation that is overtaking the entire world.
Yes.
Beautiful to watch.
Yeah, there will be no more normal, right? Thank God. I never did like normal. I mean, I spent half my childhood trying to fit into normal. Normal was crazy. There was no normal, right? Normal to me. Anyway, you get the point. So I'm glad that there's going to be no new normal. It gives us the possibility to create whatever it is that we want. And I think that that's exciting. I think that's powerful. And are there different forces afoot here? Are there different political agendas? And are there dark forces and light forces and good and bad? Yes, but as an empath, at the higher level, once we understand that we're not responsible for this and it's not our job to fix it, if we can just see this as like a morality play that's being played out, and that we can watch it, right? With discernment, with no judgment. Just watch it play out. Don't get attached to it, and know that because you are empath, you will be guided. You have a direct line to source, to consciousness, to God. You will always be in the right place at the right time, and you won't be in trouble no matter what happens. So now that you're free from that trauma of trying to figure this all out, you can just watch this amazing event, and you decided to incarnate, and here you are, and you have a front row seat of the biggest game on planet Earth that's ever been played in front of you, right? And you get to watch the scoreboard, but you're not involved in the game.
I think it's funny that you brought up the word trauma, because that was going to be my next segue. I understand that not everybody has taken this shift lightly, and that there is a lot of trauma, especially unspoken trauma, that people are dealing with. So do you have any tips and tricks or something just to help people switch from that trauma mindset into the energy, higher vibration, evolution side?
Yeah, I think as empath, highly sensitive people, we have more trauma than most because we're trying to fit in. So, and the trauma or the wounds or scars that we have in our body, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually from not fitting on, are really the powers that we have when we turn the corner, so to speak, become our superpowers that we can deliver to liberate other people. So those are the things that we want to enhance. So working in a group, like you're learning to work in a group, is really, really powerful in helping each other. So empaths really need to find their tribe of like-minded people, so where they feel safe. In that group, using your empathic skills, you can literally do things collectively to clear trauma on the planet and from individuals, and you'll literally get a feedback loop from Mother Earth or from nature that's almost instantaneous, which gets you excited because now you know that there's a co-creative relationship between you working in a group, working with Divine Mother and Mother Earth, that you'll get this immediate feedback and that you can release the trauma, not only of your own, but of other people collectively, but also from the Earth herself, and help her go through this new birth, right? So now you're becoming what I call planetary doulas, or doulas for the new Earth. And to me, that's exciting. We get to, if we want to, we can be part of this creating of this new way of creating heaven on earth, right here, right now, not waiting for some magic to happen or that somebody else is going to do it or whatever. We get to play an active role in this as part of a group of like-minded people. To me, that's exciting.
Oh, it is really exciting.
Yeah.
And on the video that I watched of you from February, before all of this stuff happened, you were talking about the vagus nerve. And that is one of my loves right now, because I put together another tool. I know there's a few things out there where I work with the vagus nerve to help people release some of their trauma without having to relive it, because I have done those therapies as well. Do you have other such tools?
Yeah, absolutely. There's many of those tools that I've developed, and the deep clearing protocol is one of those overarching tools of really clearing your energy field. So, I mean, some of the research is that it takes 21 days to change a habit. Well, in actual fact, when you do the research, it's more like 60 days or more. So by doing the deep clearing protocol with 64 statements of clearing what you don't want and then installing what you do, your conscious mind is sending a message to the subconscious to run this program 24/7, 365. So now your auric field is not so permeable. It has boundaries to it that disallow certain vibrational frequencies that don't match who you are or your soul intent to not be able to come into your aura. So now there's more energy for you to climb the ladder of energy or spirituality, however you want to define it. Yeah. And therefore you're on the path, let's back to the light, or however you want to describe that. And when we do this individually and collectively, we're creating that, moving towards that 100th monkey to change the whole consciousness of the planet. This is what evolution of consciousness is all about. And we get to play that role in doing that. And trauma is just a way of releasing the trauma that's been locked up in our bodies or in the body of Mother Earth through genocide or sexual abuse or slavery or any of one of the traumas. And when we consciously work on that, we have the power collectively to release that. And then you just feel the energy just shoot through your body. I don't know if you've had that experience with a massage. When somebody gets into that nexus point and releases, you feel that energy shoot through your body. Well, the same thing when you work on Mother Earth and release that trauma, you feel the energy go throughout her meridians or her ley lines, right? And she lights up. So it's the same thing, as above, so below, as within and without. So we get to play with Mother Earth to help her have this experience as well. And I get excited about that.
Oh, it really is. I was also reading on your Facebook page that, oh, wrong page. I wrote some notes down. You were talking about using the sound of your voice to upgrade your DNA or quicken your ability to manifest what you want in your life. That sounds really cool. Tell us about that.
I'm a licensed sound healer, and I use what's called quantum sound, and it's really scalar wave generators. And what I do is first of all, in a session, record your voice. And it gives me a baseline inventory in colored charts, in bar graphs of where your energy is in your chakras. And the first set is physical, and then it's emotional, and then it's mental, and then it's spiritual, and then future possibility. So I can tell you where you are there. And then I take you on a guided meditation, and for maybe a microsecond or longer, I get you out of your fear, out of the trauma that we were talking about, having you visualize, if you could wave a magic wand and anything and everything were possible, what would it be? And of course, everybody wants to think about that. And where would you be? And what would it feel like? And what would it smell like? And what would it taste like? So I want all of your 64 crayons coloring that, right? Not that 8-color, I don't know about you, but when I found that there's 64 crayon colors, not 8, I got pretty excited as a kid, especially gold and stuff. Anyway, I digress, but you get the point. You get that lit up, right? And then I record it again, and you'll see a quantum jump in your energy field. We then have you create an MP3 for that vibrational frequency, which then takes out the lower frequencies, which allows more of the upper frequencies to come through. And then we have structured water. This is using Emoto's technique. So this is what structured water looks. It's 8 ounces. And this is the snowflake pattern. So this one is super calm, relaxed formula. Then we put your frequency right into this bottle, and then you have 1 ounce that makes 1 gallon, and you drink 5 or 6 glasses of that. So all your intention of manifestation is in the water, which hydrates your cells, flushes out the toxins, and puts your intention in at the cellular level. And you listen to the sound, and it brings it from the outside in, and helps you cleanse what you no longer serves you. So I call it the no fuss, no muss, no analytic couch approach to clearing yourself.
Wow. That's an all-in-one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun because it takes about an hour or so, right? But to see it graphically in a way in which you can understand it is exciting, right?
It is.
Like, some people need to see things, right? Rather than just feel things, right?
I'm a little of both. I like to see things, and then if I still don't understand, then I like to feel things.
Right.
Yeah.
So it does both. So yeah, and then we have a dodecahedron downstairs, which is a sound chamber. So, and we have a cottage here that you can come out and stay in a cottage and then have an experience in the dodecahedron sound chamber, which has this technology at a super level, because the dodecahedron creates perfect sound, and then it has an amethyst bed with heat on it, and so that relaxes everything and it penetrates further, and so you have this experience in the dodecahedron sound chamber. So sound is a big thing for me.
Yes.
The sound is a nice way, because your brain can't get attached to it, right? It's just sound. There's nothing to figure out. So when the trauma is released, you may have a memory of it, but it's not necessary. Like you said, your techniques, you like to work with clients so that they don't have to go through the full-blown trauma experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's because I had seen countless doctors after my bike accident, and it didn't matter how many I saw in all different modalities. I tried whatever was in front of me to figure out what resonated with me, what helped me get to that next layer so that I would be open to the next layer of healing. Yeah. So you also host your own show called The Wellness Show.
That's true. We just went on hiatus for the summer, but we were doing a show Monday to Friday during COVID-19 to help people get out of their own way, take back their personal power, and deliver their divine gifts to the world. So we were on for 1 hour every morning, and it was a live show, phone in, toll free, and we'll help you clear what's in your way. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I had a co-host named Laura Cool, and then we had every Monday we had a psychic report, an astrological report for the week. And then every Friday we had Carla Chanaz come on, and she talked about what was the weather like for empaths, what emotional weather was coming our way. It was a lot of fun. And then I decided, hey, I need a break. So I So
So are
I'm
you
having
coming back?
a holiday.
Are you coming back in the fall?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think we're at 430 shows. So we
Wow.
have a lot of shows out there. I might come back and do the best of. I may come back and do it once a week. I may come back and host a show with my favorite guests. I have a 2-year contract to take it to TV. So I'm sort of, I don't know. I'm just, everything's up in the air and I'm okay with that. I'm just looking at a new way of showing up. And I think that's what COVID-19 is providing us is we can just really, like you said, clean everything out and start all over, right? So I'm
Mhm.
cleaning everything out
Feels
and
so good.
starting all
So
over.
do you
And
have anything that you wanted to comment on?
oh, you've frozen. Do I have anything I wanted to comment on? And then what? Uh-oh, frozen. Well, I don't know where we're still being recorded, but do I want to comment on anything? Yeah, I do want to say that if you're an empath, it's really important to fire your tribe. What?
I
There you go.
Yeah, there you are. You got frozen.
didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to know if there was any comments or anything that you wanted to bring up before we wrap up.
Well, I really just wanted, and I was talking to myself because I didn't know if it was being recorded.
It's all good.
I really want empaths to know that there are people out there that get who they are and stop struggling. Reach out to either Laura or myself so that you can find your tribe. It's important that you find your tribe, particularly at this time of major change and transformation. And together we can bring about amazing things at this time. This is our time. We were all incarnated at this particular time for this particular planetary cleanup crew. That's who we are. And that's why we're here. We're not here to fit in. We're here to change the world. So let's get the job done.
Oh, I know I'm here to change the world. That's my goal. I told people I'm going to take over the world in the way that I do it.
That's
not
right.
the way other people do it.
Right.
Okay, so how can we find you? What is the best way to get in touch with you and work with you?
Well, that's pretty straightforward. My name is Tyson. It's spelled differently. It's got an H in there. So it's just tysonatme.com. It's all about me. Well, it actually isn't, but it's tysonatme.com. That's the way. And you could just put in Tyson Bannigan into Google and you'll have way more information than you ever wanted to know, right? About who I am, what I do, and videos and everything, and all sorts of things to watch and share and play in. So, and I love talking to empaths, and I have an opportunity. Every one of my shows has a link for a free session. So you can do that, have a free session and see if you want to work with me. So that's always available. So that's, so any one of the shows, any one of my websites will have that link. So looking forward to talking to anybody who'd like to come and play.
Ooh, oh, like the word play.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that, Tyson.
Well, thanks for interviewing me.
I had a wonderful time. I know I could go on for hours, but I'm trying to keep it within time.
I think that's why Corey's jumping in, so we don't go on for hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys crushed it. I have to say, this has been for me, bringing Blue Talk speakers on to be the special guest has been an experiment, and thus far it's been a successful one. Laura, I don't know if you agree, Tyson, but Laura, I think you sounded like a pro interviewer who had been interviewing people for years. Yeah,
you did a great job. You did your research. I'm more by a fly-by-night, but I really love the fact you did the research. It gives a nice structure and a safety net for the person that you're interviewing to know that you've done your homework.
I made sure to look you up and then read your eyes so that I knew who you were beyond what you portray, and then just go with whatever my instinct was.
Yeah, and I looked you up too and got a sense of who you were.
Awesome stuff. Well, it's nice to be able to leave it in the hands of two people and have them crush it and come out like pros. So thank you both for making this happen. I salute you. I adore you. I thank you. And I'm going to let us all run with that, but I'll just mention, like I said, you'll be able to check out these boosters in the book that's coming right out. Also, the podcast is coming up soon, so you guys will have an interview on the podcast in the near future. And the virtual events, Tyson's been a part of one. We got to get him back on. He had a really unique experience last time. Laura, we have to get you on for one. So lots of big things coming. And if you want to know what is coming, everybody, just feel free to go over to bluetalks.com. I said it the other day, but this time I'll make sure to put the link in the comments here. So go over to bluetalks.com and you'll be able to see what's coming up. But the big things right now is next week on Tuesday, the official launch happens. So check back here, watch for these videos. Of course, next week on Tuesday, we have another one of these. So that'll be the big one because we'll be talking about the launch, which means this is super cool because you guys will officially be the only two ever that were the last two interviews before the launch. You just made history. So thank you so much. Again, I support you guys. I applaud you. I thank you. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Always a pleasure. And we'll see you back next week. And feel free, and of course, to look up Laura and Tyson and connect with them. They're doing amazing things in the world. So make sure to check them out, follow them, and work with them if they are your tribe, which I can't imagine they wouldn't be. So thanks, everybody. Have a great one.
Bye for now.
See ya.
See ya.